Hello, my name is AJ Goldsby. I'm a Life Master from Pensacola, Florida, and this is game 2 of the World Championship match 2013 played in Chennai, India. It's between Anand, Viswanathan Anand was the reigning current world champion. He was white, and Magnus Carlsen, the young man from Norway, he is black in this game, and he is, of course, the challenger. And this is the second game of the match. And we're just going to go ahead and jump right into this game here. The first move starts off e4, c6. Of course, this is a Caro-Kann, d4, d5, knight c3. This is possibly inaccurate. I believe that knight d2 is probably the more accurate move. And one of the reasons being is that if black chooses not to exchange on e4, then the knight on c3 can actually be misplaced. In many of the lines, especially in the systems where black fianchettos is king bishop, oftentimes white wants to have this pawn defended here, and this knight needs to redeploy anyway. So knight d2 might have been the more accurate move. And I first was taught that by I was at a U.S. Open and was allowed to participate in a post-mortem analysis of a game where that opening was played, and the Grandmaster Yasser Seirawan was the one that was analyzing the game, and he was the one that told me that he really believed that knight c3 might be a slightly inaccurate move. But it's only applies when black plays the systems of the fianchetto, which is rarely arcane and rather somewhat obscure variation. But anyway, knight c3, d takes e4. Of course, it's all pointless. If the knight goes to d2 and black takes on e4, then it doesn't really matter which square the knight protects the pawn on, d2 or c3. D takes e4, knight takes e4. Bishop f5, knight g3, bishop g6, h4, h6, knight f3, e6. Now here Anand plays knight e5. This is slightly out of book. We're just going to explore here the main line, or at least the old main line. Knight e5 is a more modern approach to it. The old main line is h5. We're just going to quickly look at this. Bishop h7, bishop to d3. Bishop takes d3, queen takes d3. Knight d7, bishop f4 is one way of doing it. And now you go queen a5 check, bishop d2, queen to c7. This kicks the bishop off the f4 square. Bishop d2 is the only really good square for the bishop. White triple castles, knight gf6. White plays knight e4. Black triple castles, g3. Knight takes e4, queen takes e4. Bishop to d6, and now c4. That would probably be the main line, and this is at least the older main line. And if you really want to see some of the games in these main lines and explore them and the analysis of them, probably the last time that these were really debated at the World Championship level was the 1966 and 1969 World Championship matches between Tigran Petrosian, as some people say, and Boris Spassky. And that was the last time that those lines were really debated at the World Championship level. Just briefly, we'll run through the game. 1 e4, c6, d4, d5, knight c3, d takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop f5, knight g3, bishop g6, h4, h6, 7, knight f3, e6, knight e5. Again, Anand plays knight e5. That's a slightly newer move, a little bit more modern of a move here. The older main line is h5 immediately. Bishop h7, bishop to d3, bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, knight to d7, f4. Well, here we just have all standard developing ideas. Bishop b4 check. That move probably deserves an exclam. The main idea there is to force. White doesn't want to exchange off the bishop here. The main reason is that there's too few pieces on there, and basically white space advantage only means something as long as he keeps pawns on the board. And again, it was a grandmaster, I think it was Joel Benjamin, once taught me that, and many years ago was at a World Open, and he was talking about basically the idea that when you have a player cramped, you need to keep them cramped. And that's a very important idea that I didn't see that in a lot of chess books right away. Maybe it's in some books, but it was mainly from analyzing with other masters that I was able to learn that idea. So I think the reason that White doesn't want to play bishop to d2 here is that after exchange of the pieces, White has too few pieces for a space advantage to mean anything. He's also a little bit weak on the dark squares. So c3, bishop e7, bishop to d2, knight gf6. Anand castles queenside, 000 or 000, and black castles on the king's side. Knight e4, knight takes e4, queen takes e4. Knight takes e5, f takes e5. Queen d5, this pretty much forces off an exchange of the queens here because, the only way to prevent the exchange of the queens is White would have to play queen b1. Otherwise, Black would simply capture. If White played something like queen g4, then it's possible he could just play king h1 and queen takes a2 check is coming next. So, White doesn't really want to allow that, so he goes ahead and exchanges queens. If I wanted to keep the game alive there, as White, I would play queen takes g4. That's a definite possibility. Again, this was only the second game of the match, and Carlsen is quite happy to do this because now after c takes d5, in my opinion, White has a pawn on e5. He might have a tiny advantage based on slightly more space, but with so few pieces on, I don't even think that really means anything. In fact, the end game for Black is distinctly better because all the major with these pawns on dark squares, there's the very distinct chance that White's going to be left with a slightly bad bishop in a pure bishop and pawn endgame. So anyway, c takes d5, h5, b5, rook h3, a5, rook f1, rac8, rook g3. Now White's got a tactical threat. The threat is bishop takes h6 there, taking the h6 pawn. White wouldn't be able to recapture because of the pin. The laws of chess do not allow you to ever expose your king to chess, so this pawn would not be able to recapture because you'd be placing the black king in check. So this explains Black's next move. He goes king h7, he gets off the file, rgf3. Now here, if Black wanted to continue, he could play a move like f5 or even f6 and then exchange everything off. For whatever reason, Carlsen, as Black, did not want to do that. He simply plays king g8. And now we get another repetition of moves. Rook g3, king h7, rgf3, king g8. And again, a draw by repetition. Both players again. This was only the second game. I don't think either player was really, looking for a full-blooded fight. That pretty much does it for this game. I mean, at 25 moves, draw by repetition, I don't think either player was really spoiling for a fight. Nobody really looked like they were trying to go all out to create a full-blooded fight. Anyway, that concludes game 2 of the World Championship match. I'm trying to keep these videos as short as possible. If you really enjoy my videos, please go to the PayPal website and make a donation under under LifeMasterAJ at yahoo.com. That's my email address. Thank you for watching my video and have a great day.